Right now, you are almost certainly outnumbered, not by people, by machines. Every time you scroll a feed, read a comment section, or look at the likes on a post, there's a very real chance that most of what you're seeing was not made by a human being. It was made by a bot, or an AI, talking to other bots, generating engagement that no person ever actually felt. There's a name for this idea. It's called the dead internet theory. And when it first appeared, it sounded completely insane. The problem is, over the last few years, the data has been quietly proving the crazy-sounding part right. Let me explain how we got here, because the real story is stranger and honestly more unsettling than the conspiracy it started as. The dead internet theory began in January 2021 in a post on an obscure internet forum called Agora Road. A user going by the name IlluminatiPirate wrote a now famous thread titled, "Dead Internet Theory, Most of the Internet is Fake."
It quickly spread to 4chan, then into the wider internet, and eventually into mainstream press. And the original version of the theory was full-blown conspiracy. It claimed that sometime around 2016, the internet as we knew it had effectively died. That real human activity online had been quietly replaced by bots and AI-generated content. But here's the paranoid part. According to the original post, this wasn't an accident or a side effect. It was deliberate. The claim was that the US government, along with corporations, was intentionally flooding the internet with artificial content to manipulate and control the human population. The original poster literally described it as, quote, an artificial intelligence-powered gaslighting of the entire world. Now, let's be completely honest about this. That version of the theory, the government secretly running the whole internet to control your mind, has no real evidence behind it. It's a conspiracy theory in the fullest sense.
There's an even more extreme version some people believe, that society already collapsed and the entire web is a kind of stage set built to keep us calm. That one is definitely not true. So if the story ended there, this would just be another weird internet myth, something you'd smile at and scroll past. Except that's not where the story ends. Because underneath the paranoid version, there's a second, quieter version of the theory. Researchers call it the weak version, and it makes a much simpler claim. It says, forget the government, forget the master plan. Just look at who is actually producing the activity on the internet right now. And when you strip away the conspiracy and look purely at the data, the weak version turns out to be largely, disturbingly, true. Let's look at the numbers, because this is where it stops being a theory and starts being an accounting problem. Multiple reports in 2026 estimate that roughly 51% of all traffic on the internet is now automated, not human.
That means, by the raw numbers, there is now more machine activity on the web than human activity. The internet is, quite literally, majority non-human. And it gets more specific. On X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, some analyses estimate that around 64% of accounts show signs of being bots. On LinkedIn, a platform supposedly full of real professionals writing about their real careers, an estimated 54% of long-form posts are now generated by AI. More than half of what people are writing isn't being written by a person at all. Let that sink in. On some of the biggest platforms on Earth, the majority of the accounts and the majority of the content may not be human. And here's the eerie part you can actually see with your own eyes. Maybe you've noticed it. Those bizarre AI images that flood Facebook. The most famous example is something people started calling Shrimp Jesus. Hyper-realistic, deeply strange AI-generated images of Jesus Christ merged with shrimp.
It sounds like a joke, but some of these images racked up more than 20,000 likes and thousands of comments. Now ask yourself the obvious question. Who is liking a picture of Shrimp Jesus 20,000 times? The answer, in many cases, is other bots. The images are generated by AI to farm engagement, and a huge portion of the accounts liking and commenting on them are also automated. So you end up with something genuinely surreal. AI generating content for other AI to engage with, in an endless loop that no human is really part of at all. Machines performing enthusiasm for an audience of machines. And somewhere in the middle of it, a shrinking number of actual humans, scrolling past, vaguely feeling like something is off. That feeling, that something is off, is the real heart of this whole thing. Because here's the trap that makes the conspiracy version so seductive. When something feels this wrong, this coordinated, this deliberate, your brain wants there to be a villain, a shadowy group in a room somewhere who planned all of this. It's almost comforting to believe someone is in control. But the truth is stranger, and in some ways worse. There is no villain. There is no plan. Nobody needs to be in charge for this to happen. In 2026, a computer scientist named Hal Burgle published a stripped-down, academic version of the dead internet theory. He threw out all the conspiracy and rebuilt it around 4 simple, observable facts. 1. Algorithms now decide what you see. 2. Generative AI produces content at a scale no human could match. 3. Humans increasingly can't tell the difference between the two. And 4. The result is a collapse of trust in whether anything online is real. And notice what's missing from that list. There's no secret government, no master controller, because you don't need one. Think about it. You have algorithmic feeds designed to maximize the time you spend scrolling. You have generative AI tools that anyone with a credit card can use to pump out unlimited content. And you have platforms that make money based on engagement, regardless of whether that engagement is real. Put those 3 things together, and the internet fills up with artificial content automatically. No conspiracy required, just incentives. As one writer put it, you don't need a conspiracy when you have an incentive structure. The web didn't get murdered, it got optimized. And this is why the original date matters. The theory pointed to 2016 as the year the internet died, and that date wasn't random. Around 2016 was when the open, chaotic web of personal blogs and weird little forums finished collapsing into a handful of giant platforms. It was when bot-driven political campaigns became a serious force. It was, roughly, the last moment the internet still felt like it belonged mostly to people. Even the people who built this world feel it.
Alexis Ohanian, one of the co-founders of Reddit, said in 2025 that he'd long subscribed to the dead internet theory, ever since AI became able to pass the Turing test, the point where you genuinely can't tell if you're talking to a human or a machine. He later put it even more bluntly at a tech conference. The dead internet theory is real. When the co-founder of Reddit tells you the internet is dead, that's not some guy on a forum anymore. That's someone who helped build the modern web, looking at what it became. So where does that leave you, right now, reading or watching this? Here's the uncomfortable truth. The strong version of the theory, the grand conspiracy, the government gaslighting the world, that's still false. Nobody is secretly running it all. You can let that fear go. But the weak version, that most of the activity around you online is now bots, AI content, and algorithms feeding you what keeps you scrolling, that part is essentially real.
It's not a prediction anymore. It's just a description of the current internet. The web you're on didn't die in a dramatic event. There was no funeral. It died the way most things actually die now. Slowly, quietly, optimized one quarterly earnings report at a time, until one day you looked up and realized the comment sections felt hollow, the images felt fake, and you couldn't quite remember the last time you were sure you were talking to a real person. The old internet, the one made of actual humans, being weird and messy and real with each other, that internet really is mostly gone. Not because someone killed it, because it wasn't profitable enough to keep alive. And maybe the strangest part of all is this. You are still here. A real human, with a real mind, reading real words, feeling something real about all of this, which makes you part of a shrinking minority on the very thing you're using right now. The internet isn't empty. It's louder and busier than it has ever been. It's just that fewer and fewer of the voices belong to anyone at all.